Hello, community, the world, everybody who bothers to watch these videos. I mean, isn't the internet flooding by people who are talking and talking about this aspect and that aspect, and now this is gonna happen, and you better watch out, and holy moly, Mars is retrograde, and whatever. And I'm one of them, so astrology can be weird. It can be a real brain fart, and you can really use it for all the wrong reasons. And it can be wonderful because it can lift the veil and open up an understanding towards a deeper development that all lives naturally go through. It works. Astrology works. It's just that we wake up every day and we seem to have an hysterical reaction to life on Earth. It is difficult to live on Earth, and it's not something um, we necessarily can fix completely. There's always going to be something like a broken tooth, or the car breaks down, or you have an unexpected bill, or you have Mars retrograde and you're just feeling extremely annoyed about everything, or the sun has opposes Pluto and you want to say ciao everything and just go on vacation. And there's always something. We keep turning and turning and turning and turning on our own axis, and every time we're exposed to this life that is so vivid and living and always moving. And we've come to the sign of Taurus, and that's why I've gone through a little bit of meditation regarding the sign. I think, what can we learn from Taurus? What can we learn from the sign? Who is Taurus? It is said that the Buddha was born, lived, and died in Taurus, the sign of Taurus. It's also said that he sat for 40 years in a cave. And now I'm a Buddhist, and I'm a Christian. I think I'm Jewish too, and I'm most definitely Catholic. That's, but I'm mostly Buddhist. And because I get such a kick out of thinking about the Buddha, and I think, it's so inspiring what he did, especially for us who meditates and aims for equanimity, equilibrium, and steadiness on the path. We are most likely to fall in love with the teachings of the Buddha because it's what we need. But perhaps if we were more into devotional energies, perhaps Jesus was the guy, I mean, and Jesus is the guy by all means. I mean, it's very cool energy in that part of wisdom teachings. But uh, the Buddha tells us about steadfastness, walking the path, being quiet. This is why this sign has to do with peace. When I see people who have found peace in their lives, I see beauty. When I see people who have found peace with everything, I find tranquility, I find grace, I find abundance, I find creativity. So there's something with the unmovable, unmutable aspect of the psyche that needs to develop in order for these other things to occur. So, in normal evolutionary astrology, in normal, my kind of normal, it's not entirely over in the spiritual, but it's getting there. And it is um, the way we see it then is that the personality still has some developments to do. Welcome to Earth. We are developing our personalities, one, to become an integrated whole so that our souls can operate through it, that our plan can be manifested on Earth, our genius can shine. But in order for that to happen, we have to learn the principle of steadfastness and self love and self worth. The thing that messes most with people's daily mood is a lack of faith in themselves, or a lack of um, love towards themselves. You might have a great creative idea. For instance, one day I'm going to go out and I'm going to shine my light. Yoo-hoo. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do it. I'm going to set up a class and give a meditation class, or I'm going to start my yoga practice as a teacher. I'm going to teach young children how to um, read German or play chess. I don't know whatever. But if you feel that you're not worth anything, like your work is not worth anything, somebody else could have done it, or are you really good, as a mother, as a father, as a lover, as a human being on earth, are you worthy of that love that is we've told that we're supposed to have it still, and yet the shadows in the minds of men are many. They go into a fight with themselves where they're not completely sure if they are good enough. Can you really help somebody? Are you really worthy of love? These things are defining aspects of self-worth, because if you feel, yes, I am, and you really feel it, you have those days where you can really feel it, then abundance, whoosh, creation, expression, nurturance of your talents. For instance, you give up when you don't have the faith anymore. Taurus is about nurturing, growing forth the seed that is now in the earth. The seed is Aries, Taurus is the soil, and like a farmer, there is a need to water the seeds every day in order for it to have a chance to settle and become strong and vital flowers on earth. This is Taurus, as we see Taurus in the solar year on the northern hemisphere. But if the farmer hesitates, or if the farmer forgets, there'll be no crop, there'll be no harvest, there'll be no fruit of his labor. So that constant, always going, always doing it, you have a Zen cone for that one. Carry water, chop, and a chop wood, carry water. That's what it is, and it's very Taurian in my world. It's that sensuous, steadfast way of just being. What do you do today? Well, I'm working towards creating a garden. And the garden, what is it? Well, I have a flower of this over here, and it's mending quite well. Yes, I see it's growing. I see it will survive. I see I will continue to nurture it. And I see that eventually it will be such a healthy fruit that I don't even have to feed it. And then I have something over here that is completely different, and I have this garden, and it's many projects. Like, one is being the role of whatever family constellation you're part of, another is being a professional, whatever professional you're part of, and the third one is perhaps your personal interests or hobbies or whatever you want to nurture, and then there's a relationship over here and a relationship over there. So it's life. The garden is a metaphor of life, and we're supposed to have this uh, creative overview of our garden, but we tend to see it as something that just happens randomly. Walking the path means we understand this principle. It's not something that happens randomly, it's something you build. You build a life. In esoteric astrology, Vulcan is said to be the ruler of Taurus. Vulcan is a shadow energy around the sun. It's very close to the sun. It's always nearby the sun. And Vulcan was this smith. He's the forger. He's the one, the forging of something, he's all, it's something that is completely close to the sun, and it's almost like an energy center of the sun, you might say. And he it's the expressive quality of the sun. So that's Taurus, being the smith, the forger, the one standing there nearby the fire, and creating that horseshoe or something out of iron. I mean, it's just a beautiful symbol of somebody standing in deep meditation and creating. And the Buddha was said to be teased by even death before he reached enlightenment, and even death couldn't move him. It's something that, um, if you see, or fear, if you sit there one day and you have that connection with yourself, being at the core of your own self, loving, appreciating whatever is. And then you have self doubt coming over and scaring you. And then you have fear of failure coming in and scaring you. And you have fear that you're ugly or that you're not worth anything or whatever it is that comes forth in your field and try to scare you. This is what the Buddha transcended. And he knew that moment when he reached enlightenment, that's the story at least, that he couldn't tell this to people. It's difficult to explain how to be steadfast, how to be the eye of the storm, how to be the center and not be so impressed by the drama that goes on. Perhaps that's why Taurus needs a lot of time alone, because the world is such a dramatic place. And Michael Lutin, which is one of the most brilliant people I know, had the other day one of these postings, and I woke up at 4 a.m. because my daughter woke up and I couldn't understand what she was doing. Suddenly she was in my bed, etc., and she woke me up and I couldn't sleep again because then the cats started. It just ended up like a big chaotic thing, and I was so tired, and you just had to make the best out of it. But still, I woke up and my mind was like, I have to engage in something. And I did Facebook and I saw Michael Lutin. He was posting like, when the moon crosses the malefics. The malefics in this case was Mars and Saturn, known as the malefics in classical astrology, or in more older astrology. I wanted to say old school astrology, but I couldn't do it. Hellenistic astrology, William Lilly kind of astrology. And the malefics are known to be not so good. Mars and Saturn, when the moon crossed Mars and Saturn, Michael Lutin said, all right, it's time to be an insomniac or something in that direction. And I thought, there I was lying awake, and I thought, how? Yeah, they used to be malefics before because people understood when something was triggered in these points, something intense happened. It was like, ugh, this is not good. Why is life against me? That's the feeling you can get sometimes when there's so many things happening and you think, what am I doing wrong? That's what you get sometimes. And that's the malefic. That's not a good feeling. It's like something is against you. And I thought, that's something I create too, because if I go into that mode, I send that out. I send out that crappy feeling. It's like, oh, the world sucks and I'm no good for nothing. And one thing is having 1 billion people generating, due to the malefics, a bad energy in their field, and it's affecting everybody around them. We're now 7.3 billion people. And when all of them are under the same sky and all of them are experiencing the full moon from hell or the malefic Mars going bananas and the adrenals and the root and everything inside your body is just going poof, the intensity will increase. And we see today more mental suffering. We see today more bigger emotional problems. People have more advanced illnesses. And perhaps this is it. Perhaps this is the world fatigue that is coming, and it's showing that something's got to stop. It's always like this at the end of an astrological age, like this dread. It's got to be over soon. And even death came and danced upon Buddha, and Buddha sat there quietly, not moving, not moving, not moving. That's why Buddha is my hero. And Buddha was born and lived and died in the sign of Taurus. So, with these words, I wish that you and me and all the world and the kittens and the children and the people who are suffering on this planet right now, who are experiencing hostility, who are experiencing rejection, who are going in some sort of pain body, that the Buddha might bless them with their ability, with his ability to just let go, be still. Life is suffering. That's what he realized. First rule, life is suffering. That means all life. 2, there is freedom from suffering. 3, nirvana is the freedom. Namaste. Have a great day.